righty, Mitt Romney's taken on the president in South Carolina. He's sounding off about his appointments of 3 new members of the National Labor Relations Board in a new ad. Take a look.
You're seeing a president adopt policies which affect our economy based not upon what's right for the American worker, but instead what's right for their politics. The National Labor Relations Board, now stacked with union stooges selected by the president, says to a free enterprise like Boeing, you can't build a factory in South Carolina because South Carolina is a right-to-work state. That is simply un-American. It's political payback of the worst kind. It is wrong for America, and it is something that will stop under my administration.
All right. Wow. Radio talk show host and CEO of Legacy Companies Neal Asbury says Romney has it exactly right. Well, Neal, these are union stooges. That's exactly right.
Exactly. Yeah. And I really appreciate the feistiness of Mitt. And we're getting now down to the subjects that the American people want to hear. It's going to be all about job creation. And President Obama has aligned himself with the anti-job creators, the unions, those who want to keep piling taxes on top of the entrepreneurs, the regulators, those in government who want to pick the winners and losers. So I really appreciate that Mitt is getting down to the subjects now that we want to hear about. And all of these things contribute to what Mitt calls crony capitalism, which is the reason why we don't have job creation in this country.
Well, I mean, the NLRB in this closing down the Boeing plant temporarily, the Obama administration would say, hey, we took some of the planes or got some of the jobs to stay in Washington, and that was just a settlement. That was a negotiation. They're going to build the big 787s down in South Carolina, but they're still going to build these new 737s in Washington. What's not to like?
Yeah, but let's face it, what Mitt's doing. I mean, it's politics. I mean, Mitt is really saying this to South Carolina. The NLRB just shot a shot across the bow of South Carolina, who's a right-to-work state, who's doing everything down there to attract businesses. And by the way, South Carolina is also attracting back American companies who's left this country, gone overseas, and are now backshoring back to this country. So Mitt is doing the right thing. I mean, he's politicking in South Carolina, just as President Obama is politicking in the Midwest with states like Michigan and Ohio and Pennsylvania, where he needs to turn out the union votes. So, you know, both Mitt and President Obama is really playing politics with this.
All right, so the economy does better. I mean, the math says the economy does better when right-to-work states attract big businesses that hire a lot of people, manufacture stuff. Are you saying that the NLRB is essentially anti-that, that they're essentially restricting big companies buying, big buildings and hiring a lot of people?
Well, the NLRB right now is the mouthpiece or is the agent of the unions in this country. Let's look at all these big businesses in America that have struggled, like the auto industry, like the transportation industry, like the post office, our education system, our schools. They're all being impacted negatively by unions, and unions are out to protect the very few. Look what's happened since the 1950s. Over 60% of the American workforce was unionized. Today, it's less than 6%. So we have this really elitist, this small group that's trying to hang on to these jobs and to this privilege that the global economy no longer supports. That doesn't mean that America can't be competitive. America is very competitive, and we can create the kind of jobs to employ our people, but it's just not going to be the union jobs that is pushing American companies overseas. States like South Carolina is bringing these companies back to America. That's a good thing. And Mitt is really, he seems to be focused on that.
Well, Mitt Romney is a person whose company, Bain Capital, had purchased manufacturing companies that some had unions, some had non-unions. He's got a record of going both ways on this. You're saying, is he a newfound union basher, or is this something he's always had?
Well, I think he sees today job creation in this country is going to be his most important issue to winning this election. And when you have 6% of the workforce, the unions, holding hostage 94% of the workforce, I think that he's getting on the side of the American worker in this. And he's at the right place at the right time. Whatever happened in the past happened in the past. But as an American entrepreneur, I can tell you that unions in America is driving people like me who are manufacturing things in this country and who want to stay in this country.
Okay.
They're driving us out of this country.
All right, fair enough.
And this could possibly bring us back.
We'll leave it at that. I appreciate your time, Neal. Thank you very much.